Hey everyone, and welcome to our last episode of Hear Me Out, the show where we discuss hard topics from a Christian lens. I'm Chino.
And I'm still Kongwa, and we are your hosts for tonight.
Last week we talked about cultural appropriation.
So we discussed what it is and how it affects us as a nation and as a world.
If you guys haven't already, go back and watch that episode. Also, hit the subscribe button and watch all of our earlier episodes too.
This week, we will be discussing Black Lives Matter.
The organization or the phrase, you may ask. Well, tonight we're going to look at both and how we as Christians should view the topic.
So I walked around campus to speak with a few students and discuss what they think about Black Lives Matter.
Thank you, Kongwa. Let's take a look at this week's Campus Talk.
What does the BLM movement mean to you?
I feel like it's not about saying like Black Lives Matter and other people don't matter. You just have to know the history of what we all been through. So it's just basically showing justice, and we just want respect. So I just feel like that's what Black Lives Matter mean. Just getting respect.
I would say, honestly, just valuing life in general. And I think it's acknowledging a people group that hasn't always been the reality for them, that their lives haven't always been valued. So at a glance, that's what that means to me, is we're acknowledging a group of people that have been hurt and done wrong and saying, hey, your life matters too.
Basically just means equality for everybody, because I mean, yes, there's that whole people that are being like all lives matter, but Black Lives Matter trying to call equality for the lives that are being marginalized and targeted.
Personally, it means I matter, that I'm accounted for, that I'm not looked like across and like passed by, like I'm seen as an individual and as a human being, and that I'm not lower than anybody else, that I am equal.
So what is your personal opinion on BLM?
I'm personally for the belief that they just want equality, and they want, I know their main thing is police brutality. They just want the police to be educated on not necessarily just dealing with racial culture, but dealing with all kinds of different issues, because I've noticed that they're calling attention to mental health in the police force and all that kind of stuff. So I feel like it's just more equality for everybody.
So have you ever personally been affected by BLM?
One time I went to this basketball game, and I got arrested just because the outfit I had on, and he was just harassing me. But once he found out I was like a good kid, he like let me go and he apologized.
It's caused me to reflect a lot and to just look inward and say, and ask myself, in what ways have I engaged in microaggressions or in racism in minor ways? I am fully Mexican. I don't look Mexican though, so I haven't been on the receiving end of discrimination very much myself, just because I blend in so much.
So as far as like protests and riots go, do you think that any of it is justified or moral?
I think some of it is, but I feel like you could do a lot of more things.
It depends on how you look at it. It's always two sides to a situation. Like some people may think like rioting and coming together to marching is a positive thing, and some people look at it as like ghetto and we shouldn't be so loud, we shouldn't interact this way.
So as Christians, how do you think that we can view BLM?
I think we should see it as an opportunity to display the grace, mercy, and compassion of God for all of humanity. And whenever Christians are tempted to hate and to correct people in a hateful way because of racism, we should back down from that and say, hey, we are supposed to communicate in love. And if it promotes unity, then we're reflecting God's desires. If it's creating division, it's doing the opposite. And we just need to be aware of what our actions are doing.
So you've heard about what everybody on this campus had to say about BLM. We'll continue this conversation back in the studio after this short break.
There is a place where lions run free to chase their dreams. It's a place where character isn't an act, it's an attribute. And character on the field or court is as important as the score on the board. Welcome to a place where seeds are planted, dreams grow, And lions always know how to roar. This is Sagu.
Welcome back to this week's discussion floor. As you can see, tonight's not our regular kind of discussion floor, but it's going to be absolutely incredible. Tonight we have with us Mr. Bruce, who's a professor on campus. We have Keon, who's a student, and also we have our very own Kongwa here to join this discussion. So we're going to jump right in. Kongwa, our first question, when you hear Black Lives Matter, what is the first thing that comes to your mind?
The very first thing that comes to mind when I hear Black Lives Matter, it used to just be the essence of the words. Just Black lives do matter. Just like if you're going to replace black with white or Asian or Mexican, whatever. Like, I believe the essence of the words. But then again, because of media, I start thinking of the organization and what they're doing, and now they've taken these words and they've kind of taken ownership of it, and so they're trying to like possess the essence of the words. And so whenever I think about the words Black Lives Matter, I think about the organization that's trying to take away the essence of those words.
Mr. Bruce, what about you? When you hear Black Lives Matter,
Man, when I hear Black Lives Matter, I would say, of course, Black Lives Matter. I have 3 black daughters, adult black daughters, and I have black grandbabies that I absolutely love with all of my heart. And I would say, of course, Black Lives Matter. And I know that people from the Black Lives Matter standpoint would not like my next point, but I think that all lives matter. And then they would say, or I would assume they would say, but you don't understand. When you say that, you're diminishing the importance of the Black Lives Matter. And I am so adamant about this. All lives matter. Jesus loves everybody. And yes, of course, if black lives are having a tough go of it right now, we need to listen. We need to identify the problems, come to agreement on some solve to some of those problems. And of course, your opinion matters, your stance matters, and let's listen to this. But I would say, of course, Black Lives Matter, but yet my life matters too. Chino, your life matters too, right? Yeah. So all lives matter. Jesus loves everybody.
Yeah. Keon, what about you? Black Lives Matter, what does that make you think of?
I have to agree with both of them. You think, yes, black lives do matter. I'm a black man myself, so my life does matter, and Jesus said my lives matter. Mm-hmm. So, but when I hear that yelled out now, like Kongwa said, the group or the organization takes possession of that, and then now it gets like, okay, well, I don't want to, associate with that, and so that's where I stand.
I think there's a difference between that phrase, that slogan, Black Lives Matter. I don't know that I've known anybody that wouldn't say, of course, Black Lives Matter. Yeah. But I think when all you gotta do is Google, what Black Lives Matter stands for, what their main points are, their agenda that they're trying to push with a social movement, you'll see very quickly that there's a whole lot more to this than being sympathetic with the black cause.
Yeah, that's good. So we've got our second question, and Bruce, this question is for you specifically. So the Black Lives Matter movement is said to come as a result of police brutality against African Americans. Do you think, or do you believe that most of the police force is prejudiced against the black community, or is it kind of taken out of context by the media?
I think it's been totally taken out of context. I think that they've hijacked a few very high-profile, tragic events that happened to the people happened to be black that were shot or physical force was used against. And I think that they've played those and they've made a huge big deal, and they are a big deal. There's no doubt about that. But if you would take what's put in the social media as compared to what's going on with the rest of the country, you would see that these issues are few. These police brutality or where police have made tragic errors and mistakes, I think comparatively, they're a very, very small portion of what's going on around the nation. But media would portray, it would make you think that this is happening every day, every place, every minute. Yeah. When the reality of the matter is, I don't believe it is happening like that. Now, these events that have happened where police have made tragic mistakes and errors, they've been horrible, of course. And the people where they have made a mistake need to be held accountable. I think police don't do a good job as a whole of admitting their mistakes. And that makes the public all suspicious and not trust the police in general. When a police officer on the West Coast makes a big mistake, they're blaming everybody on the East Coast and vice versa. The police mistakes are global in nature. They affect everybody. And nobody hates a big police mistake more than a good police officer. I hate bad police officers like the George Floyd case. That was horrible. And that was far outside of what any of us are ever trained or would ever consider doing, I would hope. And again, he should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. But I think they've hijacked a few of those, and they've publicized those. They've jumped on those, and maybe some of those big mistakes they should have. Somebody should have. But to take it and to generalize and to be prejudiced against all police, that hurts me. That hurts my heart. Because I'm in it for the best reasons, and every cop that I know are in it for the most helpful reasons, altruistic reasons.
Let's get some perspective from these two. Do you guys have any thoughts on that, of like media and situations taken out of context?
Yes. I actually have a question. So as a current or former police officer, I want to know, police need accountability. A lot of the instances have definitely been police abusing the power that they have and the position that they have. Sometimes it's power hungry. Other times it's just they're not educated with the population that they're dealing with the people that they're dealing with. And it's sad because there is definitely people teaching, like, it's part of the program, right? You have to teach other people that, hey, there are other cultures, you got to know this kind of stuff. They have some sort of responsibility to understand the people that they're trying to serve, right? They need accountability. So what do you think can definitely make police be like, okay, maybe I shouldn't, maybe I should, ask them their name first, or like ask them, sir, what are you doing, before I reach for my gun? Like, what do you think is the necessary, the accountability?
Sure.
What do you think
You're
that
talking about a lot of different issues there. I mean, I hear of at least 3 different separate things you're talking about. First of all, police accountability. Of course, we should be accountable to the public we serve. Always, 100% of what we do. There ought to be accountability boards. There ought to be made up of a composite of the population in which the police serve, and open books, and certainly openly accountable to everything they do. But I also hear you mentioning or calling out for training. And I just know from Texas, I just got a Master Peace Officer's license, which is the highest level of training a police officer can get in Texas. Most hours, I had over 6,000 hours logged training. Wow. One of those courses happened to be cultural diversity. One of those courses happened to be mental health safety officer. One of those courses, a new course that we've had to take in the last 2 years, is De-Escalation Training. Every police officer in Texas has to take it. I don't remember how many hours it is, something like 40 hours or something like, I can't remember, 16 to 40 hours of something like that, where we do practice scenarios where we get people we try to de-escalate, we try to calm the situation down. Before any force is used. No, I don't know of any police officer that goes into a situation wanting to use excessive amounts of force. no cop that I know, and I'm sure they're out there, just like there's bad, well, professors and bad doctors and bad lawyers and bad bartenders and bad, I mean, there are bad police officers out there that do the wrong thing sometime for the wrong reasons, and then there's a lot that make mistakes. But there's this training factor that you talk about. And I don't think that any police officer, certainly that I've known or haven't gone into, where a police officer wants to automatically use too much force. Yeah. We're accountable for every amount of force that we use. And we want to use the bare minimum amount of force that we can use, always. There's 5 or 6 levels of force that we teach. First of all, the officer's presence. Second of all, his voice. He tells them, hey, stop. Let me see your hands, put your hands up, take your hands out of your pockets. If they don't comply with the voice, the officer has to go to the next level, which might be a soft hands tactic, and try to coax the person to come into compliance.
So we've got to move on to our next few questions, but thank you so much.
Lastly,
Okay.
the weapon. You know, the non-lethal or the lethal weapon would be the last resort.
Yeah.
And only if someone's using that deadly force against the officer is he entitled to use that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you for wrapping that up.
Yeah.
Thank you for that question.
So I'll ask the third question, and it'll go right into the fourth question that I'd love you guys to kind of expand on. So the third question is, do you support the Black Lives Movement? And then just brief why or why not. So Keon, actually, we'll start with you.
Okay. No, I don't. Because what the movement stands for, the pillars, the foundation of it, goes directly against what God has created. One of the main things that they want to do is to remove the Father, remove that structure, that normal, that God-ordained structure that God has placed. They want to remove that. And once you remove that, several things start toppling over. Yeah. And secondly, they support the LGBTQ movement. As Christians, we should not support that whatsoever. And it generally hurts me when I see fellow believers go into it or like just dive all in and say, yes, I support it 100%. Yeah. Because it's like, well, our God, the God that you're worshiping, the God that you're praying to, the God that you're singing about, is totally against that. Yeah. You know, and I'm not shaming them, I'm not condemning them, but it just hurts me so bad, and it hurts me even more when I see churches, Black Lives Matter on their churches and everything. I'm just like, why? Yeah. You know, and as Christians, we should be weary. We should know more about these things before we say, I support it. You know, it's like, wait a minute, did you check the foundation of it? Yeah. You know what I mean? It's kind of, and so it just hurts. It just makes my heart really sad because, and also the leaders of the Black Lives Matter, you know, the 3 leaders, the 3 females, they practice basically ancestral worshiping, or basically witchcraft. And not condemning them, but they are homosexuals. Yeah. And so if you want somebody like that on your leader or your thing like that, that's just wrong. Yeah. So that's just me.
Bruce?
I do not support the movement of Black Lives Matter in terms of the organization. And I don't, because I've done research on what they're all about. All you gotta do is Google it. They are right out there with their ideas about how they'd like society to go. Yeah. One of them, and I side with Keon here, that they want to deconstruct the Western nuclear family as we see it and raise people in communities. Yeah. And I'm not even sure what that means after reading it, but I know this, that an absentee father household, from being a police officer, from just observing this, very seldom when kids get in trouble is there a father in the household. Yeah. And I'm talking teen pregnancy, teen drug abuse, teen suicide, dropouts of school, just about crime, misdemeanors and felonies. just about every societal ill we have can be traced back. The commonality is a father not present in the home. Yeah, God created man and woman, and the two became one in flesh, and it's God's idea. And he knew what he was doing. There were two sets of eyes. The male, the father, brings something to the table in terms of watching the child, taking part of that, and the mom brings her side to the table, and together they rear the family. And when that's disrupted, as BLM organization clearly wants to do, that's out there, and I could never support that. They have a lot of other agenda items too that they're pushing that are far outside to the way left, that pushing the socialist agenda, and that I would never agree with. Also,
so I really want to get Congo's perspective on this.
As a Christian, I do not support Black Lives Matter. I do not. A lot of what Keon said, if you look at the foundation and what it's built on a lot of anger. It's built on fear. It's built on disgust for other people. It's built on things that it doesn't lead anywhere good, period. I mean, sure, good things can come from like whatever, but like it's just not fruitful. I don't see it leading to life, and I don't see it leading anybody to hope. So personally, no, I do not agree with it. I do agree with the fact that they want to make a change. Yes. I believe that if there's something wrong and we become aware, we do become responsible to a certain extent. Whether as Christians it's praying, or if God literally wants us to go out in the field or just have a conversation with somebody. I agree with the fact that they want to make a change. I don't agree with their motives or their foundation, and I just cannot support the organization.
I think something really interesting is there's a distinction between the movement and the organization, if I'm correct. And I think all of you guys have really, really incredible perspectives. And so we want to thank you guys so much for being part of this conversation. I know it's kind of a hard topic. A lot of people don't want to talk about it. But man, I'm so thankful that each of you guys have been able to be part of this. Well, I hope that those of you at home can take some of this and just understand it and just marinate on it and sit on it. But we're going to take a short break and we'll be back.
True Moo. What does it take to be set apart, exclusive, to be chosen the beverage of academia? It takes a fine touch, elegance, smooth, silky quality, hard squeezed from the finest cow of Oak Farms. We bring you the only True Moo.
Thank you all so much for watching Hear Me Out.
Yes, and thank you for joining us on this journey, for listening to a lot of the tough topics.
And for enduring all the dumb debates with Tim?
Oh, Tim.
What are you doing?
What's going on, guys?
What's up?
I mean, wait.
Filming?
This is kind of our last show.
It's the last show, really?
Yeah, it's the very last one.
You didn't know?
I didn't know. It's just.
Yeah, man, this is it.
Aren't you supposed to be doing dumb debates?
No, I guess if this is the last show, we'll just say goodbye.
I actually had an idea for a dumb debate, Tim.
Huh. What was it?
It was.
Guys, I was thinking, right?
It's never a good sign.
You're right. I was thinking, is Benjamin Franklin more famous for being an inventor or for being one who signed the Declaration of Independence? What do you think, Gino?
Definitely independence.
Definitely the other option.
The inventor option?
Yeah, oh yeah.
No. If the office has taught us anything, It's that the only reason we know who Benjamin Franklin is because he signed the Declaration of Independence.
Well, that's interesting because
That's very true, 100%. But at the same time, if he wouldn't have invented what he invented.
What did he invent?
Yeah, that's a good question.
the light bulb.
Exactly. Thank you. Ding, ding, ding. He
Bifocals.
invented the light bulb, which is.
Well, let's
What?
get it.
The light bulb?
Let's get it.
Y'all are missing y'all's because he did not invent the light bulb.
That was
Hey,
actually.
hey.
You're right. That was
Thomas
Senor
Edison.
Yes, Thomas Edison. Let's get a third opinion. Y'all mind if we get a third opinion?
Yeah.
I mean, I
Here
would
you go,
love to.
Tim.
Please,
Here you go,
please.
sir. Go.
This is dumb debates with Tim.
Benjamin
Okay.
Franklin has spoken from the grave. He has sent a telegram with the answer.
Okay.
So each of you open up this envelope. Let's find out which one of you was correct.
Nice.
Watch. It was definitely the light bulb.
Benny
Let's
Frank.
see. Let's find
Benny
out.
Frank.
What did Benji have to say?
I mean, this is the only reason he's actually that important.
See, he invented this, ladies and gentlemen.
invented money.
You're welcome.
Did that.
Exactly.
He says, Benji told me to keep a picture of him in your wallet. Use it as you need to.
Thank you.
for all your
guys.
hard work for our show. So we love you guys. God bless you guys so much.
Thank
We
you,
love
Benjamin.
you guys.
Thank you.
You're the
thank
best
you.
Give it up for
Love
the
you guys.
whole camera team, the whole crew. They're all amazing.
Thank you
Close us
so
out.
much, everyone.
All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. Thanks to our amazing host. Thanks to our EP.
Cheers. Cheers.
This is it, HMO. We're done.
Cheers.